What's up, guys? Good Tuesday afternoon. I know I kind of already did the rooting guide postmortem on Monday. I did it yesterday, but I want to do it in a formal sense. I want to actually do it the way that I usually do it, just to kind of emphasize how bad this last week was for us, game by game. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way, which is the way I pretty much always do it. And I think we kind of understand generally where we are right now, but specifically looking at the most recent week of Seahawks games and games affecting the Seahawks, it was bad. It was the first week where I've done this year where very few results were in our favor. So let's start on Thursday. This was actually kind of a disaster. If you still want this team to make the playoffs, this Packers Lions result was a disaster. We need the Lions to run away with that division as hard as possible. So, them taking this L to the Packers, of all teams, the Packers, is not good. If you want this team to make the playoffs, you do not need the Packers getting involved here, and this win takes everything that I said about them a couple weeks ago and kind of flushes it, because this was supposed to be an easy L, and they didn't let it happen. And Commanders Cowboys, I mean, the good news is the Commanders are now done. Like, they're out of it no matter what. They're clearly just going to roll over into the next season. They're not making the playoffs. They're not a threat. But they were going to probably be that anyway. They could have won this game and lost other games later. So now you've got the Cowboys, who are basically cemented into a wild card spot. Now, I suspect that was always going to be the case once they won games like, the Chargers game, and a couple other kind of close calls that they had. But there was some tiny chance of them fading out because they do have a tough schedule. And at this point, I think it's basically over. Like, the Cowboys will be a wild card, and probably they're locked into the 5 seed. The only way they're not is if they win the division, and then the Eagles are just where the Cowboys are. So that's not an ideal result. So that's not what we wanted. Friday, that game didn't really matter to us at all, so I'm not really going to speak on that. Dolphins beat the Jets. Doesn't affect us. And then you get to Sunday, and this is obviously subjective, but I kind of wanted the Saints to just start building distance in that division and all the other teams to just go away. Like, the Falcons were on a cold streak. It looked like if they lose one more game, they could just pack it in, basically. But didn't happen. Falcons win, and now I don't really know what the heck is going to happen in the NFC North, and that's not good. Because that seventh wild card spot looks like it's going to be so bad, and honestly, maybe even the sixth wild card spot is going to be a lackluster team. You could have a scenario where the division is so bad, it actually helps two teams get in because one team wins it barely, and another team barely gets left out but makes the wild card because they still get to like 9 wins. I don't think 8 wins gets you in anymore, but these teams could both get to 9 wins, and then one of them probably gets a wild card spot. So I wanted the Falcons to be finished off here, and they're now not very much not finished off. The good news is they've shown a propensity to be able to lose to anybody, so I'm not that concerned about them getting on a hot streak here, but it's now possible. It's now on the table. Steelers, Bengals, nothing to do with us. Didn't really care about that game. Panthers, Titans, playoff wise, I didn't care about that game, but it does help our strength of schedule a little bit, and we do want the Panthers to continue to have the number one pick to send to the Bears, by the way. Still sending that pick to the Bears. So that's good, I guess, but that doesn't really help us right now. That helps us later, like in April and May. One of the only real results on Sunday that went our way was Buccaneers Colts. Colts held on, and that is probably the end of Tampa Bay. Like, that's a silver lining, I guess. I don't think Tampa Bay is a real threat for the wild card anymore. I just don't think they're. I mean, you look at their remaining schedule; it's still pretty soft, but they've just lost too many games here that they should have won. Remember, this wasn't this team 3-1 at one point, so they've gone 1-6. Like, they've just regressed completely into the team we thought they were going to be. So Tampa Bay is probably out. That's nice. So thank you, Indy. But that's part of a that's a small part of a bigger picture. Patriots lost to the Giants. We like that. Patriots continue to have a top two pick in their sights, and they're probably going to get there. Um, I would love to see one of these super duper blue chippers in this draft go to the AFC. So I like that. That's cool. That's good. That's a good result. But again, it has nothing to do with our playoff scenarios. It just has to do with draft stuff, which is months and months away. Jags Texans. We wanted the Texans to win because they have the Cardinal. They give the Cardinals their first rounder. Now the Texans have already done enough good work to where that doesn't really matter so much anymore. The Texans are not going to be picking in the top 5 anymore, and that's what we were afraid of. They've already done enough to guarantee that's not going to happen. But we'd like them to continue to pile on wins here and maybe even be a playoff team. Browns Broncos didn't really matter for that much. The only thing it matters for at all is the third round pick we might get from Denver. At this point, by the way, there's a real chance it comes from Denver, but again, nothing to do with like playoff scenarios. That's all draft stuff. And that draft stuff is like really small, even by those standards. So to me, that's kind of a that's not really what we're talking about right now. Like if you still want this team to make the playoffs and you're thinking about that, that game doesn't really mean anything. The Rams, we needed Arizona to do something here. Now the Rams are another team that's just not going to go away. This was a big one for them, and they actually looked good. They actually looked really good in this game. They didn't just win it. They actually looked like a genuinely good team, and it seems like they're just going to be a problem. They're not going to fade. So remember, we're completely hosed on tiebreakers. So that's a big thorn in our side now. We need the Rams to lose a game or two that they might be expected to win down the line, or else we're going to deal with the embarrassment of watching the Rams take a playoff spot ahead of us. It's very on the table right now. Chiefs Raiders, this one didn't really mean anything. Bills Eagles, this didn't really mean anything unless you think we're going to catch the Eagles, which we're not. So, I mean, technically speaking, yeah, we wanted the Bills to win, but I'm not going to even act like that mattered. Ravens, Chargers, I guess strength of schedule wise, we wanted the Ravens to win. Yeah, that's it. So, that's cool, but that's not really going to move the needle here. The one thing that did move the needle this week was the Bears beat the Vikings, which is actually significant. Vikings are now weakened significantly. This was definitely supposed to be one of their wins, one of their easy wins, and now they have to possibly pull an upset down the line in order to make up for it because they're actually now behind us. We're now the 6th seed. So that was the kind of one shot in the arm we got at the end of the day on Monday. But overall, we just didn't get any breaks that we needed. And not saying that we deserve it because we're losing on our own right now. We lost twice to the Rams. Like, straight up, the Rams deserve to make the playoffs more than we do. But I still want to make the playoffs if it's there. Because, again, I don't think we benefit from losing or not making the playoffs. So, yeah, it was not a very good week. We're going to need some help going down the line here because unless you believe the Seahawks team can actually beat one of these good teams coming up here, they're going to need some kind of assistance from these teams fading away. And there's not much we're going to be able to do to affect it. All right, that's it for the rooting guide post-mortem. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming.